Hello, everybody, and welcome. Today I am just going to kind of be doing a demonstration on how to better make your builds. For example, how to make them a little more three-dimensional, or how to, like, make them a little more va-va-voom than what you see in a typical Minecraft house for villagers. So, let's just kind of get to it. Let me pull up Minecraft here. Um, so a lot of what you see with villager houses, as you can see, there's not a lot of three-dimensionality in them. And a lot of questions that I get asked, either in streams or in real life by actual people that have seen my builds and stuff, is how do you make a better house than what you see with these? So we're gonna go over to a building area that I have created. Let's just, it's so far. Oh my goodness. So a little bit of what you're going to be seeing in some of these builds is I use a lot of walls, I use a lot of stairs, even a lot of like fence posts and stuff. Lanterns are huge. I think that they're very beautiful. So for this build, obviously you can see I've used stairs, I've used a combination of layering as well as like extra stuff. So if you look on at this block right here, it's just a flat wall, but then I've layered it with other things as well. Um, on this house, as you can see, I've also done a layering type of thing. So this bottom one down here is flat, and then I have used a, a log, a layer of log, whatever. I used torches on this one because this one was actually a design that I was going to use on a server, but I never actually ended up using it, so. But another really big thing is with houses that you build on your own, I always recommend to make it not just square. Now, on this one, I did make it a little more square. It's actually a little more rectangular than I would like. But I built this one to where the entrance has like a cover, and then there's a little shoot off here in the wall, things like that. This one was also another I was going to use on a server, but I never actually ended up using, where it's just flat, and then I used a log as like an accentuation, a lot of stairs, and then for the top, I used stairs to kind of accentuate, and I have a shoot off here. So let's head back over to the village. Also, here's another unfinished build that I did. More shoot offs, more things like that. A lot of stairs, a lot of slabs, walls, fences, and things like that. So, we'll come back to this probably later for more examples, but let's head back over to the village and I'll kind of give an example, build an example of how I would build a villager house. We are just going to use this one right here. We're going to use this one as an example. Let's actually make it day. Time set day. So there's a little shoot off here, and there's some doors, as you can see, and in my opinion, this is very straight. as you saw on some of my other builds over there, a lot of what I do is I do different types of roofing. So let's just use this as an example. This is 5 by, looks like 7, 5 by 7. So we're going to come over here and we're going to do a 5 by 7. Yes, we are going to use oak the way that it has been used in this build, but I will show you how to kind of build it up. So there's oak planks, and cobblestone. So we're going to do 5. I personally like to put the floor into the dirt. So a lot of what you see is the floor for this actually is above ground. I personally like to put them below ground, and if I don't put them below ground, I do it 2 or 3 levels above the ground. But for this, just for the purposes of this, we're going to put them in the floor. So there's 5 by I need to make it 7. 5 by 7. So there's that. Something else that I like to do is I actually like to bring the foundation up 1. So the foundation is up 1. Whoops. Foundation is up 1, and I usually leave a 3 space with like a 5 by 7. If it's, I usually do it in the larger side, so that way in the smaller side there's not a lot here. Excuse me. So then there is a little shoot off. So we're actually going to build the shoot off with oak. So I like to have the oak come up 4 for an entrance. And actually, since that one is 2, I'm actually going to do a second one. And then I'll take it and go like that. So there's that. And then we have an entrance now. One of my favorite things to do is to actually layer it. So that way there's a 1 block difference for the entrance. So here's the entrance, and then we'll do this. You can, ideally, if you want a little more color, you can just bring this up and do that, and then we'll do that for like a banister. The biggest thing that a lot of people forget is, as you can see, there's corners here. I actually like to put the corners on the outside, in my personal opinion. Corners on the outside actually bring in a little more negative space. But if you don't want to do that, let's see. We've got oak. Let me grab oak fence. So we've got an oak fence. Sometimes what I like to do is I'll actually do 2. Kind of like what I did on that circular or that rectangle building. I'll actually do 2. And then I'll take a cobblestone wall and an oak fence. To add a little bit of extra space. And we want to make sure that it's 5 tall all the way around, so there's that. And this is a very simple way of kind of doing it. Then I just add a little layering here as well. And can't forget to connect here, and can't forget to connect here. So as you can see now, there's a little bit more of direction, if you want to call it direction. Then we go in with the oak planks, fill that in. And I usually just do a block there. Then we can do the windows. I usually do a corner and then an extra one. And then a corner and an extra one. Okay, now something else that you can actually do to add a little bit of extra color or texture is I actually like to bring in stripped oak logs. So I put stripped oak logs on the corners here, and then I will do this and bring it to the side here. And that adds a little bit more texture on the outside, and I'll show you that here in a second. That brings a little more texture in, so that way it doesn't just look like this the whole time. Now, to kind of bring in, oh crap, I need to do that and do that. Let's finish building that out. There we go. Now, if we go inside, I'd like to take a look at how they have built this. Okay. That's what it looks like. So that's what the inside looks like. The beds are down here. The bed is down here, and then there's stuff like this in here. Now, since I'm thinking about doing this as like a survival house, for example, we could just simply take this out. Actually, let's take this out. And then do this, and we can do a little like shootout here. I do like to do little shootouts so that way there is like space for stairs or things like that. So we're gonna just do a 3x3. I can't really decide what I'm gonna want to do with this, but we're gonna do a 3x3, and then I'm going to bring this down. And then a lot of the time I do spiral staircases, but we're not going to do a spiral staircase this time. We're just going to do a regular... We're just going to do a regular stair, so let me pull out the oak stairs. And I want it to be like here, and then here. Oh goodness. And then we just kind of build it up this way. And then we'll take this out, so that way when we go up, it makes a little more sense. That way we don't bonk our head. And we can do that. If I can get in here. There we go. Something that I do like to do with stairs like this is I will actually do this and do an extra one here so that way we have either a lantern or a torch on this spot. Let me... Okay, that's there, and then I'm actually just going to do this. And then I'm going to do this. And we'll do that. And then we cannot forget to do our little cobblestone fence oak log here. Actually, that's not correct. I'm just kind of throwing this together mentally, so I do apologize. Cobblestone. Make sure the floor is still cobblestone. And then oak planks, just to kind of fill this all in. And then we'll go back in with our oak planks here on the corners, cobblestone wall, oak fence, and then oak log. Now, we can take a look. Okay, there's a little bit more three-dimensional feel here. Can't forget to do that either. So there's a bit more of a three-dimensional feel on this. I'm actually going to bring this up one, and I'm going to cut that out. And we're going to do that instead. One of my other things that I do is, since the walls are on the outside, we just bring the walls up here. And I'm gonna just do this. Actually, 1, 2, 1, 2, and then we'll do something different on top. So, as I said, for the windows, 1, 2, and then 1, 2. This is not going to have windows right here, but 1, 2, and 1, 2. We'll do that. And then we can't forget to put the floor in, obviously, so the floor is just going to be oak planks. So now we have stairs. Let's make it daytime times set day, so that it's a little bit easier to see. Oh my goodness, my cords are annoying me here. So we've got a stairway now as opposed to a ladder, and we do have some windows, which is really nice. Windows. And obviously this one's going to be bigger than this one just because of how the stair is built. And then for the corners, we'll do this. Corner, 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 same as we did down at the bottom. Finish this out here. And that brings in a little bit more detail. To kind of help with some of the detail on this one, we are actually going to shoot this out, and we're going to shoot this out. It will give a little bit more detail, three-dimensionality, and it just kind of makes more sense. Maybe not right there, but we'll just do it right there. And then I'm just going to do one, and then we'll do a cobblestone wall, oak fence, cobblestone wall, and an oak log. Just to give it a little bit more, the cobblestone gives it a little bit more color. And then we'll do this, and we'll do this. And it's going to be the same here. Oh my goodness. I'd like to do this as well. And we're just going to put this as a corner. You can just kind of adjust it however you like to show kind of whatever way that you would like. And we're gonna do cobblestone, oak fence, cobblestone, and then oak log. And see, that makes a little bit more sense. I don't like that. So we're gonna do that as well. One of the things that you can do, if you just do a full thing here, my favorite thing to do is to actually bring in spruce because it matches really well with the oak, and do that. But we're not going to do that today. So let's put our walls back here. And then cobblestone wall, oak fence, cobblestone wall, and oak log. Boop. Cobblestone wall, oak fence, wall, log. And we just keep doing that. And then I'm also gonna do it here and do this here. So that way there is a sense of protection when you come out onto the banister. Oak fence, cobblestone wall. And we'll do that. Okay, that looks good. That looks good. Let's make sure we finish out the walls there. Okay, that looks good. And then to add a little bit more, we're actually going to do this. So that way it looks the same on top as it does on bottom. And I'm actually going to raise this up one for the roof. And I just do this. Whoops, there we go. And then we can put the roof on these as opposed to on those. Now, it looks like they're using oak planks and oak stairs. I don't like personally using oak planks and oak stairs if I have a completely oak and cobblestone house, I actually like to use the spruce stairs. That's just my personal feelings on that, but the way that I kind of do these strange little shoot-offs here is I'll actually start there, and let me just fill this in here. I will start with the short side first. I'll start with the short side first, and then we can do that. Ooh, I don't like how that does that. We're gonna do it this way. We're just gonna pretend that that's not there. And then I actually like to bring the roof out one. I just like to bring it out one. Add a little bit of extra space. And then I'll go in right there. Right there. And I actually want this to match, so I'm just gonna take that off. And then we can come over here and do the long side next. And you don't have to fill this in, but you can. I'm just gonna fill it in for better speed. Okay. And then I'm gonna go up one. No, I'm not. I also like to use spruce slabs, just because it's a lot nicer to have a different type of. Okay, that's right. A different type of, like, shape. That's the word, shape. So I'll do this, and then I'm actually going to take a spruce. Oh, no, I'm not. I'm gonna do a slab there, do a slab there, and then we can do this. And then I take that. And I'm actually going to do a full block there. And then we can actually that's not right. It's not right at all. There we go, that's better. And then take a oak plank. Sometimes you do have to go in on these corners with full blocks to make it make a little bit more sense. Oops. And then on top right there. And now it will start to blend in. So let's just finish up the roof here. Let's make sure we have those there. And I always like to make sure that on the inside there's a little bit of stuff like that. And we'll fill this in with oak planks, and then we can do the spruce there. And since there's not a banister here, we'll just go back in with this. And we always want to make sure that where there's a full block and then a stair, that there's always just a full block there, not an actual stair. So there we go. And now we can go in with either a slab or a stair, but I'm going to go in with a slab because that feels a lot better to me. It'll give it a more rounded top. There we go. And then we'll put a full block here, and not there. I should have just pulled out a full spruce plank. That's my bad. And then make sure you fill in the full blocks. Go back in with the slabs. And now you have a rounded roof and a rounded roof. Now, a little bit kind of about what I do to help with some of this flatness on some of these walls. I once again go in with spruce stairs, and I'll do this. And then let's switch out the spruce slab with spruce trapdoors. And that's what I'll do around the windows, just to kind of give it a little more color and make it a little less simplistic. Sometimes what I do like to do is do this. Oh, why did I do that? And then I'll put the trapdoors here. Since this is down here at the bottom, this will actually add a little bit of extra stuff here, and you can fill it in with, where is it? Natural blocks, grass block. You can either do a grass block or you can do a mossy block. Now this here, I just simply do a circular pattern and put trapdoors here, and that adds a little bit of extra shape there as well. We're gonna do the same thing here that we did on the other side. We're just gonna do that. Flip those up and down. Flip those down and up. And then flip that up and put a grass block there. Now, flat. No longer center flat. Do the same here. There we go. And that's what this kind of looks like. Oh, let's make sure we don't forget to do this. There we go. Ta-da! Now that's real nice and simple. I'm not going to do anything on these corners here just because we have the cobblestone walls and the oak fences. But that is a better rendition of what this house would look like. We'll put in oak plank there, and then I prefer to put in dark oak doors, but you can literally use whatever doors that you want to use. A little bit of a tip to kind of help bring the eye into the door. I actually put it on the inside like this. And that brings the eye into the door. Now, we can decorate on the inside. Let's clear this out here. And let's pull out a lantern, a furnace, a crafting table. I did actually want the spruce stairs and the spruce trapdoor. I'm also going to grab a cobblestone stair, because in places that are compact like this, you kind of want a little more space for a crafting table and a furnace. So I usually put the furnace and the crafting table down here like this. Or you can just put it on opposite sides like that. Which is actually what I'm going to do, just because it makes a little more sense for this. Cobblestone. And you can do that. There we go. You've got a furnace and a crafting table. Since we do have a little kind of nook down here, I'm going to grab a chest. You can grab barrels if you would like, but I'm going to grab a chest and stick it in there, and it'll open because it's underneath a stair. Let's put a chest right there. And that, so far, looks good. Let's put a lantern here and a lantern here. And then we go up the stairs. I'm going to place a lantern there. And then I'm actually going to place spruce stairs here, just as like a... I should probably put oak, just so it kind of makes a little more sense. Just so that there's not a solid line. Put the oak stairs there. And then when you come up, you don't risk falling off this direction. Now, the reason I got spruce stairs... the reason I got spruce stairs, sorry about that, is I actually like to add storage up top, up above, so that way it's not in your way. So then we take a spruce trapdoor, put a chest here, spruce trapdoor, let's put a chest here, and then go in with some barrels. Go in with some barrels. Just like that. And you can easily reach them. They're easily reachable. And now we just go in with a simple bed. Let's just do good old vanilla red bed. And now your bed's up here, and you have a nice little area up here. Let's do lanterns there. And there we go. A nice, simple house. Oops. Now, for lighting on the outside, I just go around like this. There we go. And then you can do the same up here. I usually put it on the corners, if there are corners, just like that. And then that way your roof is also lit up so nothing spawns on top of the roof. And that is how I would do a vanilla house. I can kind of show what I would do for this house. I would literally just put oak on the outside here, oak on the outside here, and just make it a little taller so then that way there's a bigger window. But that's about the only difference I would do for a house like this. So anyway, that is how I would make a basic vanilla house, using 3D as well as extra things like spruce in combination with oak, or things like cobblestone walls, oak fences, things like that. So anyway, thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you all in the next video. Bye guys!